sharing my second screen for comments. Oh, hello. This is a lot later than planned. Let me move my camera so that my face is in it and not just my ear. There we are. Oh, it's a bit low now. Hello everyone, welcome to F1 2017. My name is Simon and I'll be dragging you kicking and screaming probably through the next couple of days of me just fanboying about everything in the world ever. Alongside me, as always, back for year number 8?
It's season 8, but year 7 because we messed up.
Yes. As only we can, is the amazing Definitely Zero. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing fantastically, mate. How are you?
I am so hyped for this today. The postman could not have trolled me more enough. It's been
I know, what an arsehole.
I know. Yours came yesterday. Did someone actually get it for you? Or was you able to actually find it in the end?
No, they delivered it while someone was home in like the briefest moment.
Oh wow!
They basically got it at the bottom of the stairs. We live on the 3rd floor, and actually checking the mailbox, the guy turns up and I think you have something for us.
Do you?
Because to be honest, if that hadn't happened,
yeah,
if that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't see it for 3 days.
Ugh. Okay. Well, that luck was on your side. So we're going to be diving into a very brief quick look. I've literally just installed the game, so don't expect like mass excitement. Well, you expect mass excitement, but don't expect mass level of detail and stuff. But before we dive into some modern cars and then the classic stuff, because, as I'll stick it on the screen, I have the wonderful cardboard box in outset of the special edition, which includes my Ayrton Sennas. I just wanted to quickly run through some of the game options, just because immediately off the bat, there's a lot of extra stuff that I want to show. So, first thing you've got with the square button is manage drivers. So beforehand, one of our banes of our lives, I know our taco friend from Mexico, Esteban, will have the same issue. You could only have one driver profile, and that was so frustrating. So I'd balance between having a pro career, which I was terrible at, and then saving my actual career for playing with you guys online. And showing that. So the fact that I can have lots of different ones on the go at the same time makes me happy. So that's really, really good. If I dive into the actual game options themselves, autosave on and off. Autosave can be quite good because if you turn that off and then you screw up, yay! You don't. It's as if you never happened. It's like reverse flashback. So that's all good. In the settings itself, there's a few extra options that I just want to run through as well. So we've got the ability to customize the control on your DualShock 4, which is wonderful. But there's aside from just setting the buttons, which is all fine and fair enough, with your gearing up and your gearing downs and your replays. Flashback is now, okay, so that's there. What I do like, and it didn't necessarily have it in so much detail before, is in the calibration stuff. So you can start to play around with steering dead zone and throttle dead zone and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure our Esteban friend will talk more about it because he's moving from PC to PlayStation 4 for this season. It will come out probably over time. But the whole lack of triggers, or the drive of triggers that you've got here, you've got less play in the PS4 controller, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with where the analog stick is for actually controlling the car, but I shall adapt. But I would say tentatively, it's not an insurmountable problem at the moment.
Fabulous. We shall watch that with fun. There's also things about dealing with the force feedback on the controller. So if you find that actually the rumble strips and stuff like that is affecting the vibration too much, you can individually turn those vibrations on or off compared to what you've got with the different on-track effects and stuff like that. There's also a bizarre thing here called understeer enhance. So the level of drop-off in force as the tyres exceed peak slip is increased, making it more obvious where you feel that the limit of grip is. So I'm assuming that that's like an extra little thing that kind of gives you extra warning that you're about to bin it. So that's all good. But also, you can assign MFD shortcuts, which I think is mega helpful because the amount of times that I'd be pressing circle to get through that menu to try and bring up the right screen for me to then press stuff. I'd got used to it over time because you get used to multi-managing stuff. But the fact that you can assign shortcut buttons for fuel mix changes and differential and bake bias increases and decreases, really, really helpful. Because I think actually, having watched David Greco play around on the F1 Codemasters YouTube channel, that was one of the big takeaways that I took away from watching him drive, apart from his occasional dive bomb. Naughty David. I've not spoke to you for a few years, but naughty. He was changing around a brake bias all the time, and it's not something that I've ever really bothered with because that feels like, I don't know, professional stuff. But very handy to have. In the volume stuff, that's all well and good as well. Notice that the upshift tone is back again, so you can turn that on or off, which is great. You can have Jeff come out of the PS4 or your main speakers, just like before. Which was first introduced to me with Project Cars, actually. When they done that, it made me shit myself. What was the last thing I wanted to show? Camera options. So you can change with great level of detail the amount of camera shake and exactly where you want your cockpit to be. So if you feel like you need to be slightly taller but still be in cockpit mode, you can poke your head out a little bit further so that you've got a bit more better field of view. I used to do that all the time with R Factor, and it must have thought that I was like 7'5", because even if it doesn't necessarily really in practice work, in my head I felt like I was higher in the view, and I don't know, it just in my head it made me feel like I was driving better. Elsewhere, crumbs. As you can see, we've got the new championships mode where you can dive in and take a look at different championships that aren't your normal career or season stuff. General Grand Prix, multiplayer time trial, events, which is what they kicked off halfway through last year, where they would do an event around a specific Grand Prix and stuff like that, which proved quite popular. So yeah, I think I've warbled on enough. Should we dive into something?
I knew it was you that we needed. Do a professional job. Look at you going through menus and knowing how things work. I did a Motorsport Manager this morning. I went straight into career mode blind, rambled on for 3 minutes about look at this upgrade tree, and it turned out it wasn't the upgrade tree at all. It was the fucking power unit parts that you change.
Oh, superb! How are you getting on with that update, by the way?
I haven't actually had a chance to give it a whirl-a-rooney yet. I'm excited about it. And I know that anything that makes it feel like a richer experience and anything that makes the game I'm in favour of, and what you were saying about it actually got me quite excited about it. But I was waiting for this, to be honest. I mean, I've been so hyped about this game since since I heard about it. We've played every version together now, except 2010. Actually, we didn't play 2010 together.
No, we didn't. Now, are you going to come through the game in this? 2 seconds. No, we're okay.
I'm curious once we get on track, because for you it really will be first impressions. I'm curious regarding your feedback, given where this handling model compares to the ones we've had in the past. What I do know for sure is you're going to feel very aware of how wide the cars are. That I certainly did.
Okay.
Obviously, I said that on my stream this morning, and it was a really fucking stupid thing to say. Oh, they feel wider. Well, of course they do, because they are wider. But the point is, it feels much more pronounced than I perhaps thought it would have done.
Okay. I feel like I need to be Jolyon Palmer just to do a tip to last year's one.
Someone has to be.
Someone has to be. Hey Chimpy, thank you for joining in the stream there. That's one of our people that have been tweeting at us today. Lovely to see you here. So what have we gone for? Realistic performance, collisions, simulation damage. Yes. And
yeah, we need simulation damage. We need to test the envelope, my friend.
And notice with the AI, it's now a percentage, not necessarily a thing.
Yeah, I was about to touch on that. I absolutely love that because that was always the problem, wasn't it? That I know personally, I always fell between the difficulty levels.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I just actually say that I'm ready now. Stupid me. Yeah, no, it makes big sense. So I was just noticing the whole spectate stuff. Love that. I
Yeah.
was bitching and moaning actually about how spectate mode has never really come back to these F1 games on this since the very first F1 game that came on PS3, F1 World Championship, 2006. So I'm glad to see that they're actually really starting to bring that back, especially now that this game has been selected for the esports stuff that's going on for Formula One.
Yeah, I was surprised about that actually. I would have thought that, they would consult with, with sim racers and esports enthusiasts, and they would have written this game off as being not sim enough. But I guess it's because it's officially licensed more than anything.
Yeah, because McLaren with the world fastest gamer have gone for iRacing now, haven't they? So for the actual finale bit out or something in the future, but this one doesn't really matter so much. Ooh.
Right then, Neil China, we are in Japan. Apparently, it looks very dark out.
I was going to say that.
We're in Japan, and I have selected that on purpose because this is where historically we've had the closest performance.
Okay. No worries, Chimpy. Thank you for popping in. We'll see you later.
If you start to suffer from oversteer, come in and let us have a look at the setup.
Right then. This is my first time in a car that isn't the McLaren.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I forgot the Force Indias were pink. We could have pinked it up.
Oh, I'll pink it up next time. So, let me take a look at the setups. Is anything different really for those? No different. And I'm not really looking at actual setups for doing actual stuff, but I shall just stick in the middle. And get.
You're being lost in my engine noise, mate.
Oh, okay. Go to track. Or should we go session info?
It's been a long time since I've driven this track.
Yeah, we never get this far.
Yeah, we only got this far one year.
There you are, looking beautiful in that.
And I'm stuck behind a Merrickson.
It's almost like they knew you were coming.
Oh, I've lost a bit of my front wing. I tipped the back of him.
Oh no! We did see that actually. I was just watching you on there. Oh, it's looking good. Right, let's get out. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, bit understeery. There's a lot more vibration coming through the controller than the previous games. I don't know if that's just the nature of the PS4 controller or what, but
I've seen that on a couple of other reviews where people have said that it's the first time that they've had too much force feedback and have had to like turn things down.
well, I mean, I know what's causing it because it tends to vibrate when you're putting additional wear on your tires.
Oh, okay.
Is what I find. Certainly in the tire tests, I know that it will vibrate if you turn on the braking, for example. And it sort of corresponds with the tyre wear meter shifting. Merrickson is going to ruin every single one of my laps. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now, and I want your first impressions.
I'm just getting used to this actually. So, I was just going through the actual HUD to see. I was busy gawping at the engine stuff. Yeah, it's on the old acceleration. You notice how much grip that there's available for stuff, isn't there? Oh, no. Come on, Fernando, through you go, mate.
I'm just pooling around, minding my own business. I'll come in and get my front wing end plate put back on. My impressions from this morning, actually, were very much that traffic is a much bigger issue for me in this game than it's been in any of the other games, by a long, long way. I mean, even something as small as someone coming out of the pit lane on your quali lap, even though they're offline, because the cars are so wide, you're liable to interfere with each other in the corner. And I'm driving like a complete tool.
Oh Christ, so am I. Okay, this is, to be fair,
Right,
this is literally my first lap.
Hey there, 1EVD4. Nice of you to join us, mate. Pleasure to have you. So for me, my biggest concern going into this season is actually the effect the width of these cars is going to have. It's definitely something I noticed this morning. Overtaking, I feel, is going to be a lot harder. The AI don't seem to be any more shy than they've been in previous years.
Okay.
And we know that particularly last year, 2016, I felt the AI was, if anything, a little bit too aggressive. I mean, 2015 was certainly a marked improvement. We all remember how the cars would back out of any sort of fight completely. Like if you turned in under braking, the car behind would slam on the brakes and you'd gain a second on them in the space of a corner. That obviously doesn't happen anymore, but I still worry that we're in a period of gameplay where they're just going to railroad into the back of you,
Sure.
which happened to me several times last year. How are you getting on? Let me see if I can't see you on the old timing board.
Well, I kind of, because I was like, yeah, this season there's going to be so much more grip. I was kind of flooring it a little bit through the S's, and it bit me. I've also remembered that the reason why it's so dark is that they do this so late in the day in Japan now, don't they? Because it's like almost, it's bordering a sunset race, which is why that sun's everywhere. But yeah, it feels familiar but different all at the same time. Oh, there we go, a trophy straight off the bat. Hello, thanks game.
Look at you, overachiever. There's no room for that here.
I know, it'll all go horribly wrong in a minute, mind you. I don't even think I'm within 107% at the minute, so we'll be okay. A bit wide.
Actually, I'm glad I chose this circuit because it is exposing as well how important setup is. Like the fact I'm using a default setup here, the car just doesn't want to hold the line at all. There's problems with the suspension geometry. Someone has just gone into the back of me.
Hey, Elias.
That was the most ridiculous slow-mo crash I've ever seen in my life.
What have you done? Oh.
He nudged the back of me and I went onto the gravel and the car sort of rotated gracefully in slow motion and then I lost the wheel in the barrier.
Oh no!
It's okay, we can go on board with you. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Right then, let's watch you in... Can we get TV-style cameras for you?
Yes, you can. If you go into your session stuffy buffs.
Oh, mate, I have no idea how I managed that, but I'm very pleased you were here to witness it. I wish I could describe it to you. It was a very strange sensation. The car sort of kicked out after I was hit, and once the front right hit the gravel, it seemed to swing back the other way, and I braked a little bit too hard, and the car just sort of skated into the wall. It was a very strange accident, I agree.
Okay.
But at least now we know it can happen, no? And it's alright, Simon will do something even more embarrassing, I'm sure.
I'm going to run out of fuel.
That is kind of what we do.
I'm going to run out of fuel, that's my problem. I've only got 0.2 laps of fuel. So I might just come and park alongside. Doo-doo. I am liking well, we've got to explore all the shit bits first of how to do terrible.
Say again, you're breaking up.
Well, I mean, I think as well that it's like you say, it's familiar but different. So the way that you would drive last year doesn't really suffice anymore.
No, and they've never stuck really. I suppose the most sticky ones was the 15 to 16 maybe, where they've kind of kept vaguely the same type of stuff. I was noticing that if my engine wear stuff, I'm going to be so transfixed on that engine wear types. Yeah, I'm going to run out of fuel. Fuck. Does it let you coast? Please say. Oh, there you go. I've become a ghost already. Oh no, it's all good. It's letting. No, it's up here. Ah! Because it never used to let you actually just conk out with fuel beforehand. It would let you kind of coast around at like 2 miles an hour.
No, it actually you don't conk out entirely, but you do slow incredibly.
Yeah, I'm going at 60 miles an hour at the minute. Into 180. Even I would take it flat out at 60. in reels. Repaired wing damage. Auto. So what's Jeff got to say on this? Shut up. Oh. Hang on. Shut up, Jeff.
You trophy whore.
I just want to see
I know
what
what
now,
you're
Jeff.
doing.
Yep. Jeff, talk to me. Jeff, I love you. Jeff, don't leave me. Fuck you, Jeff. Oh, warning, speeding in the pit lane. I forgot all about that as well.
You got a spit. You got a pit lane speeding warning while out of fuel. Oh. Welcome to the Failcast, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the level of detail that we strive for. Oh, let's take a look at the faces, because every year we used to have Angry Asian. Where's he now? They've redone the faces.
You are being rotated gracefully by a series of invisible people.
Oh, so they don't appear on yours?
Not on the camera that I'm using right now.
Okay.
Right then, shall we come back in so I can drive again?
Yeah. Does it? Do we go back to Raceroo?
Yeah. Can you do it from the timing screen?
Yeah. If I can retire from the session, this will end your current progress.
Yeah, go for it. And we can burn from the back.
Forward.
Nice. Okay, so back in the game. And this will actually be my first time racing the AI, so I'm very curious to see how badly we crash.
Nice to see that there's a track evolution and that everyone got faster as well, so that's all good. What's in the race director? Incidents. It's just us two. Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
I tell you what, though, I am surprised that...
Time to rush home from work.
Oh, well done, Tom. Nice to see you, mate.
I am surprised, actually, that whoever hit me from behind didn't get some sort of... But secondly, with the cars the way they are.
Are we going to... Should we... Oh, no, go straight here. So...
Parc Fermé's on as well.
Yeah, so it's just fuel load, front wing, and adjustment on and off throttle. Yeah, so you can.
At least I'm at the back, so.
Bias. Yeah, so we can kind of chug it round.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang off the back, and once I'm feeling a bit more comfortable. Also gives us a chance to see what our networking is going to be like for the season.
Yeah. Oh, cheeky.
Nope,
less cheeky. Oh, it does pain me to see Alonso last of the AI.
He's actually surprisingly uncompetitive in career mode.
I noticed that Stroll... Oh, there we go. A little touch on my front... Oh, I love that. The little mini effect that Alonso had after I'd gently hit him.
You'd be surprised how much damage I took from lightly brushing you there.
I didn't even notice she'd brushed me. Let's try one of those.
Oh!
Oh, hello!
Amazing.
Welcome to the house of fun.
It's very strange. It's very odd. I don't know.
Indeed, lots of brush. I tell you what, we're opening up a dry cleaning service for this amount of brushing. We can pick off the worst. It'll be fine.
I see. I need to come in for a new front wing. I can feel exactly what the problem is.
Oh, Christ. I'm liking the red arrow for when you're about to...
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch, actually, a sort of indicator that you're going to get into trouble if you turn in, someone's very, very close by, because it's never been something that's been communicated to you in the past.
Ah, and the fuel mix 4 is only for quali, so that's of use as well.
Just take the bollard out there.
Pascal says no.
Indeed, Pascal said no. You shall not pass. Oh dear. Fernando might say no in a minute as well and stick it right up me. Ooh,
Oh, hello, mate. I didn't realise it was you. Ah, the initials. I should have recognised. I hope you're doing good, mate. Certainly, I hope you're doing better than I'm doing.
I don't know if I'm under driving because I'm not used to having so much grip. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense because I felt, even though, speaking as someone who's just had an accident, I felt like I was being overly conservative. I'm actually very nervous in this car in a way that I haven't been in the past, and I'm not entirely sure what's causing it.
Ooh,
Maybe it's because we're live.
Yeah, I tell you what, the AI is mega cheeky. I'm having a right ding dong with Pascal. Princess Pascal.
Yeah. I can't even turn the car around. I don't know what's going on.
That lens flare.
See, I've never been a big spinner. You know, historically throughout the Failcast seasons, it's not been. I've almost done it again. It seems the back end just really wants to go. And as a result, it's making me too chicken.
Two lens flare.
It did nearly happen again, mate. You are very observant.
Because isn't there like a proper day-night thing now as well, as opposed to like you can choose the actual time of the day more on a switch as opposed to just choosing parts? We'll have to look.
Yeah, you can do. At least you can do Monaco at night. I know that for a fact.
Yes. Oh, I tell you what, turning and acceleration. Yeah, so I can feel the car losing it much into the hairpin where I'm too eager on the accelerator whilst turning, and it's almost like the feedback that you get through the controller. You can really feel like when you're on the edge of adhesion. I like that. It's good. And we're on 75 for AI, aren't we? Which, for a first go, I don't think we've done bad.
Do you think this is about the right level?
On
I'm
default
playing at
setups,
18 career mode. And to be honest, I think 80 is a very good level. I was very challenged this morning, although I'm challenged every morning. And I did P2 and P3 after the stream, and I was failing some of the R&D tasks, which I think is a sign that the level's about right, particularly with regards to fuel wastage. So they've added a new. You've still got the 3 original test programs that you run over the course of the weekend, but there's 2 additional ones now, and one of them is in regards to fuel use. So it's trying to find what your fuel burn level is.
Yeah.
This setup is horrible. And Elias says we're last, so I guess it's the right level.
Thank you.
It absolutely is. And so I've been set the task in qualifying of getting 17th, which I think will actually be a challenge.
Cool.
And Alonso is my rival, obviously, because I'm doing McLaren. But historically in these games, I've always found it easy to save fuel. But in this game, seems the lift and coast mechanic is a lot more overt. So the game tells you, right, you need to lift and coast to meet your target here. And I was sort of lifting from like the 150 board, but it seems they want you coasting from like 200 meters out, which to me feels like you're foregoing far too much performance. So I don't know if that's going to become an issue during the race. Maybe the AI are actually lifting and coasting quite aggressively or something. But it would make sense because after 3 practice sessions, my first gearbox was worn 12% and my first power unit was worn 15%.
Oh, okay.
And you only get 4 of each, and they have to last, 5-6 races. So the fact that just practice for one race took so much out of it tells me that I'm doing something wrong. And I did qualify what could be considered out of position. I was a lot more competitive compared to Alonso than I actually imagined. I beat him in P1 and P2 pretty convincingly. So that tells me that I'm driving too hard, and maybe that's true here as well.
So, because I find that when I'm racing, if I'm going... Oh, Christ, that was a terrible cut. But if I'm going round certain corners or like on acceleration, I kind of feather it back on a little bit, and maybe that helps me a little bit with fuel load. But we was just looking at the wear on the race there. So that was 5 laps, and everything was up to like 4 or 5% of stuff. Oh, it automatically jumped to you. Oh, hello. Let's take a look at what cameras.
That's it. Show up just in time to ruin my first clean lap of this session.
Yeah, game does look good, Tom. And yeah, I'll see you Monday for a race if we're doing the TSA stuff. Be good fun. And the netcode looks like it can cope with it, because I remember, I think it was 2015, we was all going to the grid, and then the grid would get stuck whenever we was doing multiplayer races, and I was like, oh, getting angry. But no, this is working. This is good.
You'd much rather drive too hard than too soft, though.
Oh, hey, Jay. I'd rather drive too hard and retire, maybe, and go for glory. If I'm in a lower team.
Fine, Monday it is. Fingers
Sorry, is that you
crossed.
admitting to being a bit of a
Because at
Verstappen?
least then you know you have the
Little
pace.
Little bit. But if I'm in a top team, then I would drive more conservative because I've got more to lose. I think that's actually a really good mental dilemma.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's already playing on my mind, right? Because I know the grid penalties will take effect, right? If I'm using more than the 4 gearboxes or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's clear that whatever I'm doing it wrong. So I assume that you just have to be prepared to ease off a lot more, or put a lot of early R&D points into mitigating the wear on stuff like the gearbox and the power unit. That is a branch of the web
Okay.
that you can research your way down.
Oh, so you got
Oh, mate,
penalty
I'm
for
sorry to hear you
hitting
can't run it. Sorry, Si.
That's all right. I was going to say, you got your penalty for a hit with Verline, not anything else. How bizarre.
Yeah, I know, because I properly steamrolled into
Oh,
Verline.
okay.
It was very naughty. It was strange because I lost part of the front wing in that little coming together with your good self, and
Yes.
it really affected braking, because I'm used to in the previous games it would affect only your cornering, but in this case it actually affected the braking.
Ah. Interesting.
And it seems actually the car is much more liable to break traction at low speed, because what I found was when trying to get back on track that the car would spin again quite happily. Right then, me old China.
I can't not be Esteban. See, now you're confused. Do you want to, if you was going to be Force India, would you be the Taco friend, or would you be an Esteban?
Yeah, well, that's the dilemma, isn't it? Who even knows?
I've currently gone for the Esteban, but
Are we doing more modern cars?
should we do one more with modern cars on a different circuit, and then change the what have we got? change up like all the parameters on things, so it's like a completely weird and wonderful thing.
Which parameters?
Oh, do you know, actually, can you answer the question of, can we do modern F1 cars on a race on a short circuit? The alternative layouts.
I think we can.
Do like a little 5-lap fun race around, like, I don't know, Bahrain International or something like that. Just to show that it can be done.
The Bahrain short?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, me old China. Which car am I going to take?
I've gone for an Indian force. I might have an Indian tonight, actually, to celebrate this.
That's not a bad idea. I'll take a Williams. You know, much like you had to be Jolyon Palmer, someone also has to be Lance Stroll.
Ah.
Shall we keep the settings as what they are?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Welcome to everyone who's joined in the last few minutes. Your timing is excellent. You've missed me binning it embarrassingly twice, but don't worry. I'm sure I'll find a way to ruin it again.
Yes. So people who are on YouTube, the other person on the other side of the line is definitely Zero, and he's streaming on Twitch. So what's your URL so that people can dive across? Fabulous.
But I mean, this is only my second stream. I only started streaming this morning.
Hey,
Late to the party.
Welcome. Oh yeah, we're nighttime in, but I forget about nighttime, Bar.
Right, I'm going to leave it with the default setup. As we saw last time out, the setup definitely plays a huge factor. And I feel it's perhaps even more so than it's done in the past.
So I'm going to go on to increased top speed because there's only a couple of corners round this one, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, you cheeky monkey! Now you're messing me up.
Soz. So I was interested in doing this because I used to be amazing at this layout of the circuit when playing on R Factor with touring cars. Random fact. And there's
that's a very strange fact to deliver.
There's a broadcast of me being commentated on by Jack Nichols where he's excited that I'm running in the top 10, and then he's like, Cyrus Smith must be having the nosebleed being that high up the order. I was like, right, calm it down.
He knows you so well.
He does. Right, let's dive out.
Checks complete.
Plus, I want to see this pink in the dark.
We have a car leaving.
So while we're driving the short circuit, and obviously we'll give a running commentary on what we're finding so far.
Yes.
Just want to confirm with you that you're seeing what I'm seeing. It seems very stable.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any frame drops or any cheekiness. I did see during my very first run, once I unboxed the game, that there was some cloud popping during changeable conditions, which I had not seen in a previous version of this game.
Oh.
So what would happen was, as I came down to I can't remember which turn number it is. Basically, I'd come down a straight towards a sharp turn at the end, and as I got to the end of the straight, the clouds above would sort of gradually pop in. It was a very strange effect, and when I say pop in, I really do mean pop in. Other than that, though, I've not noticed any problems. I know, was it last year's game you had trouble with your rear wing flickering on the PS4?
Yes, I'd have problems with the rear wing flickering, and specifically in Australia, it would really struggle with sunset conditions. The whole track would start to flicker a little bit, but I got so used to it in the end. I kind of got all right with it. I've not noticed any technical problems so far with the game. When I was racing very close with AI, bearing in mind that we're streaming at quite high quality as well, I was pleased at the lack of like jumping around of AI, because sometimes we've had some connection issues with the PC versions, haven't we? So I'm glad that this feels nice. That was a terrible line. Oh, we're spinning gravel.
I'm feeling very reluctant to commit to full power. Are you quite tentative on the throttle here?
Yes.
It just feels like at any minute the car is going to kick me in the teeth.
which I like.
Which is not something I had in career mode. I was complaining about career mode this morning, actually, saying that I felt the cars felt a little bit too planted, actually. That the wider tyres and the wider stature of the cars in general made them feel a little bit too planted. But I retract humbly that criticism. And I guess it must have just been the way I had the car set up. I definitely had difficulty setting up this morning. I ran into trouble with the front and rear anti-roll bars, actually. I noticed that if I had the anti-roll bars set to 9, the car felt very turgid, like it was stuck in treacle.
Right.
It felt too rigid. But if I knocked them down to 8, or even just one of them down to 8, it actually began to roll a bit too much in the corners. So I guess there was some other suspension elements at play that I needed to address. And I guess I'm going to learn a lot about car setup in this version of the game, because previously I've been able to sort of coast a little bit. And it really does make such a humongous difference. Am I second? That can't be right. Oh, but I'm also out of fuel.
I'm about to have that same problem because this is the
What
first
a
lap that
twat.
I've not binned it.
What a twat.
And I wonder just how much...
It's so slow.
I wonder how much of a thingamy-bob the AI line round here is like massively optimized because it's a non-norm.
I'll open the DRS just for fun. I'm sorry, guys.
Flap
I'm
it.
sorry. I have to say, though, I like the short circuit option. I didn't think that I would.
No, I was all for this. All for layouts. I want... Because for me, like, especially when you're going for season on season, because you can only really, like... You can't add new cars into the game, and they will never, ever, ever allow you to, like, build your own team and add them on the back of the grid, which I dearly love. And I wish... well, Motorsport Manager does add it in, but I want it to be an additional team as opposed to being slotting in on the 10th team, if that makes sense.
I'm on an uphill section, sorry. I feel like a proper Doris. It's like I'm in a metro.
No, I'm closing you down, but it's only because I've... Oh, no, Raikkonen.
Are you out of fuel as well?
Yep. But I'm coasting faster. Doot, doot, doot. This is going to be the slowest race to the line. I'm coming for you.
If you catch me and overtake me while also out of fuel, I will retire. You'll have to find a new broadcast
Oh, this
partner.
bit's a little bit downstairs. Not downstairs, downhill. You know what I mean. I'm coming. I'm coming. Do, 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 do.
So far, I would say I'm prepared to recommend it. You have overtaken me. That is... Right, that's it. I retire. That's it, I'm done. You've become
Oh,
very difficult to work with, Simon Smith.
At least I didn't get a speeding warning for being
Yeah,
out of
I was
fuel
going to
this
say,
time.
did you get your...
Oh, dear.
So, I would say I'm prepared so far to recommend picking it up. Simply because it's certainly not had the launch problems that I've experienced in the past. And playing online with you, I mean, I can't remember a version of this game that we haven't had some sort of issue.
Yeah, we've always had a launch day issue, and it's always ended up being like our first couple of episodes. We've always had like a weird trial one where we're just like, but if it all goes wrong, then we'll pretend that this didn't exist and we'll have it as bonus stuff.
Yeah, which we can't do anymore now we're live.
No. Well, we can file it in our recycle, maybe. But yeah, I think this is by far the smoothest launch. I guess giving the game to all of the YouTubers about a month before launch may have helped somewhat with some of the online code. And it's the first one, where I've seen quite big public betas across lots of different platforms as well. Maybe I'm sure they've done it before elsewhere, but it was quite a public one that they were doing.
I did notice actually that we're already on version 1.3.
Yeah. So if anyone's getting this on
you know,
PS4, there was a 4 gig patch that I had to install before I could go live.
I have to say as well, kudos to how tight things are.
elaborate? Because now I'm just thinking slutty things.
No, I just noticed that in terms of performance bracket, I mean, I guess it's a short circuit, so it makes sense. But where are you? Oh, you're sixth, me old China.
Yes.
Half a second down. I'll just do my smug face.
It's all good. It's all good. Now, and I'll tell you what though, but we went for different setups as well. So
We did. Yes, you're right. We did.
but what's really interesting
Oh, hey Jay, how you doing, man?
is so we've got it's slightly back to front because in my head, oh hang on, am I looking at the wrong bits?
Probably. That sounds like something we would do.
That is true. That's because I keep looking at it, because I've got Oriken highlighted, not me, twit. Where I've gone for a lower downforce setup, I'd have thought in Sector 1 and Sector 3 I'd be faster than you, but in Sector 1 you've got the fastest sector split, so clearly you've nailed turns 1, 2 and 3 quite happily.
Yeah, it won't last, don't worry.
You have to track.
It's actually the race I'm nervous about because, as I've said already, I feel very nervous in these cars. The extra width and the way the AI is, it actually, you know, a racer that won't go for the gap is not a racer, and I sort of feel unable to go for the gap if that. I don't know if that registers with you since you managed not to bin it last time out.
Yeah, I did notice on a lot of the other gaming broadcast type stuff that the AI seem more up for a battle with themselves as well as each other, but also because of how tight the grid is that you were saying earlier, is that there seems to be much more of that inter-spankery rivalry, and so I expect problems like that to be much more of a thing, I guess.
I have actually witnessed people making mistakes for the first time as well. Sort of convincing mistakes as well. I think there's always a sense when you're driving against AI that if they do make a mistake, it feels somehow artificial.
Yeah.
But there were some convincing looking errors today. What are you doing, Fairline? Get out of my way.
Oh, I put the same tyres on, you twit. Someone always picks me up in the YouTube comments for forgetting to do that. And I've just forgotten already.
Have you hit traffic yet, Si?
No, I've been moving out of the way for traffic as opposed to... Oh,
No, because I'm curious to hear what your feelings are about the traffic, because I feel that the effect of traffic is much, much bigger in this game than it's been in the previous years.
Okay. Well, I'm starting my lap right in front of Bottas! So maybe he might have a go if I'm being extra tall.
Okay, Elias, thanks for stopping in, mate. I'll catch you tomorrow. Well, that lap was a pile of bollocks.
I tell you
Well,
what,
no, because I was in traffic all the way round.
I tell you what I will notice as well, and I noticed this an awful lot in... Oh, hang on. What's it saying that for? I swear it said, this is a good lap, abandon it and come to the pits. Jeff, are you gone bit bipolar, mate?
Actually, that's a good point. Am I going to run out of fuel again?
Oh, I braked too early.
Took a strange line there. That didn't go well.
Dolt. I lost that all in the last corner. Oh, hello, Bottas.
He's made a bit of a leap, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got my toe. The fiendish fin. But what was I going to say? So gear braking and gears on acceleration and deceleration, I think, is going to be a big thing with this, because what I noticed in F1 2016 that I found really helpful for me with tyre wear In traditional older games, I would always find that I'd kind of go down like too many gears and then have to come back up again. And what I noticed watching the AI and other people was, like back down in Bahrain, traditionally I'd always take that corner in first gear. But what I did this time round was go for second gear, and not only does that save my tyre wear out in the future, I also felt like if I feathered the throttle, that's a tongue twister, on acceleration, that would also help with fuel saving, but also probably help with reliability, maybe. So when we're doing career stuff, I think that'll be quite interesting to look at.
Are you still out? No, we can ride on board with you. Excellent. Oh, I've got TV-style camera for you at last.
But I've already finished.
Oh, well, I'm watching the AI pretend to be you.
So...
The car's still intact, so that was the giveaway.
So this had... Thanks. So this was a bug last time round. So when everyone had finished, you still had to wait for qualifying to count down. So we're stuck like this for the next 40 seconds.
Well, that's okay, because that gives us a chance to talk some more.
Yeah.
The AI's just had an accident with your teammate.
What?
Like a proper accident.
5 grid drop because of that.
Do you know what was amazing about it? Is that the other Force India went into the back of your car and your front wing detached and flew off. You'll be able to watch it back on the VOD. It was quite something to see. It seems very strange that sort of accident would happen, but it's nice that it can happen. I think it always felt a little bit artificial.
Oh, I can see the results of it have just popped up on the screen.
Let's see if there was a... Oh, yeah, you got a grid penalty for it.
Oh, superb.
Okay, so that's good. And that actually displays to me that the game isn't just keeping up appearances once the players are no longer driving. You know, like we always had a thought that the AI cheated when you weren't out on track.
Yeah, because you could never see it, like, if that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, you know, someone would put in a lap time, 2/10 quicker out of nowhere, and you just think, bullshit, prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Oh, we were close.
Okay, so let's try and race this time, and I'm going to try and not be chicken, and I will warn in advance that it is almost certain
we will crash.
That there's going to be a big accident involving me, and then I'm going to make a tit of myself trying to spin the car around again.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay. We're learning. It's launch day. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I have to say the disjoint between this year and last year doesn't feel quite as big as it did between 14 and 15. Would you agree?
Disjoint as in what way?
As in the change feeling so radical.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. But I think that's a good thing, because I loved 16. 16 is probably my all-time fave F1 game of all time, hence being the all-time fave game. So that makes sense.
There's a clear in the title.
Ba-booms. But this to me feels like F1 2016 with F1 2013 nods to it, because that was a grippy title. And I'm going to shush because this is going to go horribly wrong.
Oh, I was very slow off the line.
I'm on your inside. Oh, this is going to be brave.
Oh, Simon, you...
Oh, no!
Oh, now I've done the same fucking thing.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got a 2-second time penalty for hitting Hamilton, but I deserved it, to be honest. I think the brakes locked or something, because I was pulling the brakes and it just wasn't slowing down.
Okay.
And I think I've knackered part of my front wing.
I'm loving that we can... alternative circuits, man. This is the way to go. Then I want classics. Bring back the Estoril and the Brands Hatch from 2013. Jerez as well was interesting, although very difficult. I'd like to see Silverstone National, if that's not already on here.
Jay, you're a total bro, leaping to my defence like that. Hamilton's fault. Yeah, I'm prepared to take that under steward's advisement.
To be fair, did you see him in his new look? So maybe that just scared you
He's
off
got
the
another
road.
one.
Well, no, he's got weird hair again. So it's not in dreadlocks. It's not in dreadlocks. It's like he's had a perm. Oh, Verline and Van Dorn smacking each other.
Oh yeah. He's gone the Kevin Keegan route, hasn't he? He's got a bit of a perm going on.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
At least someone's taken those fucking glasses off him.
I'm going to call him Granite.
It's John Lennon Imagine spectacles.
Yeah. Imagine there's no.
That was really stupid of me. But I'm missing part of the front wing and the car just won't turn. But I'm not pitting on a 5-lap race.
Oh shit, I'm off and round. Oh, so that was me hitting accelerator on an outside curb and getting it horribly wrong.
Oh, is it kicked out and...
Yeah, but I guess for me that kind of makes sense because I was already kind of on. I could feel that I was being cheeky, but thought I could get away with it. I like that. Oh, yellow flag.
Yeah, I've lost my
Is that
front
you?
wing now. Yeah, I just went straight into the back of Verstappen, but I mean, I braked even before the brake marker. So yeah, that's shagged that then.
Yeah, no, mate. Oh, yeah. Proper wrestling it around. I apologise to people watching that this isn't like an amazing display of skill, but literally I installed this game about 3 minutes before we went live. So this is me discovering and learning as we go, which is quite useful, I think, if you've not got the game yet, so that you can kind of see genuine comparisons.
Right, I'm going to brake even earlier now because apparently losing parts of your front wing, or in this case all of your front wing, does actually affect you in the braking, which I suppose makes sense, right? I mean, it's a drag creating element.
Yeah. I'm liking that the front wing, though, when it does brake, there's more elements to brake in smaller pieces.
Same thing again.
More updates.
Same thing again. I don't feel like I'm Superman fast, so I don't know if the AI are perhaps incredibly aggressive on the brakes or what, but...
Remember, we are default setuping, so...
We are default setup, that's true.
And I think that surprised me on 16, was just how much there was to be gained on actually finding setups that you could monotonously pull out lap after lap.
Yeah, you're completely correct there, Jay. Actually, I mean, I do feel the loss of the front wing completely, but I have to say, it feels a little bit more manageable. I don't know if that's just down to the circuit that we're on, but it feels more manageable than it maybe has in the past. But I mean, it obviously is affecting my competitiveness because I've dropped down so many places, and I'm going to keep losing places until the race ends, I think. Particularly the fast corners, it just can't hold the line. Hold the line! Sorry, I had to get a Toto reference in there.
Not Toto Wolff.
What position are you inside?
I've just got myself back up to 18. I can see a nice little train, and I'm assuming that's you at the head of it. Oh,
the train is all because of me.
Ah, I feel so proud.
Nothing changes, does it?
A new
And
year,
the proverbial
nothing changes.
Jarno Trulli.
Who looks like his Belgian fastest lap is going to go this weekend as well.
I have to say, I'm refreshed by that though, because as much as I love Jarno Trulli, I think it's about time that F1 cars were back setting fastest laps again.
Yes, that's
I
true.
think it's ridiculous that, Pedro de la Rosa held the lap record for so many tracks. It felt really stupid. Oh, the fireworks. We get fireworks for a 5-lap race. How's that for expenditure?
Ah, go oil company, go oil. All the fireworks don't cause me problems this time, though, so that's good.
And my 2-second time penalty takes me down to 16th, but whatever. I'm not too unhappy with that, given the level of damage. But
yeah,
I'm going to have to learn to be more cautious on the brakes. That's my takeaway. I'm surprised actually by how sharply some cars in front of me were able to arrest their speed compared to me. And if you watch the VOD back at any time, Simon, you'll see when I went into the back of Verstappen, I actually broke early anyway. I don't know if maybe I need to feather the braking a little bit. It's really hard to say. Or lift and coast before the corners, like it encourages you to during the test programs that you run in practice.
Yeah.
Shall we?
That's classic.
Shall we hit the track in some retro cars?
Yes. Now this gives me a mini boner. Not that anyone. Not on camera. Not on camera. But I'm excited to see this back.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realise actually how much I was missing it, but it is a feature that I appreciate when it's there.
I think so for me, I've managed to keep my retro F1 alive by still having Grand Prix 3 and Grand Prix 4 and things like that installed on my PC and just booting up random car sets and being like, now I'm Katayama in 95 Tyrrell, and I'm all like happy and excited.
Oh.
But I miss all of those games. GP4 and GP3 you can kind of still get away with and say, it looks okay. But they're all so old now that it just kind of makes me go, I want something where I can enjoy the fidelity of today's life.
I don't know which car I want to take. I drove the 96 Williams this morning, and like it was last time we had classic cars, it is a work of art. It's a masterpiece, that car. I've
got to go for that.
I'm going to take... I might take the 95 Ferrari, actually. Just because I don't normally take the Ferraris so often. Let's see how that works out. Is it just the two of us?
I think we can add a...
Just the two of us.
I can't add AI, but I've seen that you...
Apparently I can add AI. Yes, I can. So I'll add one of every car, no?
Oh, yeah.
And we can... Yes, there we go. And we can lay down, see what's going on. It actually separates the cars into two classes. So everything, it seems, after 2000 is Class 1, and everything before 2000 is Class 2.
Okay.
I like they're using made-up... I presume they're made-up drivers.
Yes, they are.
As well, actually.
Because the idea, I believe, from what I've seen, is in career mode, you get these invitational races with other people who are kind of off doing these types of events. But you can also have, like, in championship mode, your own little mini championship against those people in certain types of cars as well.
I haven't got far enough into career yet to find out if that annoys me or not. Because part of me thought it's a nice idea, it breaks up the career mode, but at the same time I found myself thinking, won't it just get annoying when, maybe you're in a serious battle in the season, you're enjoying your season, then you have to wander off and drive a 20-year-old Ferrari against some no-mark twats. It seems a little bit of a disjoint. This car has always interested me, actually, the 95 Ferrari, because Ferrari were very late to adopt the slab-sided nose. That Tyrrell pioneered, and I know Benetton were running it very early as well. In terms of setup, I'm going to leave it as it is, actually. I'm going to leave it default and just see how it handles out of the box. And I always get a ridiculous grin on my face when driving retro cars because 90s F1 is best F1.
I love 90s F1. Also, I'm loving the fact that I'm looking at the tyres and it's just dries and the lifespan is 54 laps. No grip problems there. And all the same setup options as well, so that's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to go for the balanced default one as well.
Are you out already?
Just about to go.
Oh, that sound.
Jeff is
That's what's missing. I'm just going to back off and let this wanker go. Oh, yes, please.
Oh, that rear wing. Oh, look at it. It's beautiful.
Oh, Simon, I didn't realise how much I missed the noise. I lifted off there. I was a coward. Feel free to mock me. They feel so much faster than the actual cars that, you know, the modern cars, the ones I'm using in career mode. I know they actually aren't faster necessarily, but they certainly feel it. The car feels lighter on its feet. It's an absolute pleasure to drive.
I'm on the 96 Williams, and it's got that flappy aerial thing at the front, and it makes me feel like it's like Halo 0.5, because there's just a giant pole in the middle. But actually, I find it quite useful for lining things up with the car. Also different.
I'm losing you again in the engine noise, mate. I don't know if you've got a volume control on your...
Yep, I will do.
Nearly had a bit of an accident there because my finger slipped off the analog stick.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, mate. At least for me. See, in here, I don't mind running so close to the cars in front because the cars don't feel a million miles wide. Yeah, have that.
Oh, just went.
Okay, I think I'm prepared to say at this point that actually driving these cars as a break in the career mode might actually be quite a lot of fun because they're putting a smile on my face.
Let's have a look.
And actually, I would almost say that this feels a little bit better than the 96 Williams, which I find hard to believe.
Oh,
Now, I'm pretty sure I saw the 99 Williams advertised as being in this game, but it's not here.
One.
Oh yeah, but it's not here, is it?
I didn't see it on the thingamabob. No.
So did I dream that? Did I make it up?
No, because I remember commenting in my head, why have you chose that one?
Yeah,
Because
not the ugly one.
The livery looked awful that year, and it was
did,
like one of
didn't
their
it?
least stellar years as well in terms of competitiveness across that whole era. And I just thought, why have you gone for that? That's really weird.
Right, what I'm going to do, coming in, I'm going to go out again, and now I've got a feel for it, I'm going to try throwing it around a little bit. Yeah, I always thought the 98-99 Williams I was never a fan of.
No, I mean the liveries looked like they'd been given about as much time as the Aero. Oh, here we go. Let's keep.
But it
that
makes me
massive
think
view.
also DLC, right? Because I noticed
Yeah.
there's only one Renault included in the initial launch package, the R26, and you know they're going to bring back the old Renault turbos.
Yeah.
And I know they have trouble, obviously, licensing a lot of old cars, and you know that's fair enough. But there are some cars that I think they could bring back quite easily, but they just don't. So, for example, if you think of the 97 Tyrrell, that was basically plain white. It had a handful of logos on. I don't think anyone would notice if you took them off. And the Tyrrell family still maintain a Team Tyrrell website. You know, they're available. I'm pretty sure they'd be fine with the family name being used. Now, I believe Paul Stoddart actually owns the assets of Tyrrell. So,
yeah.
again, it depends what he's up to. But
Still alive.
you
Minardi's
know,
still
I'd
going
be
as well.
curious to see some other manufacturers represented beyond the standard. You know, whenever there's retro cars, it's always Williams, Ferrari, McLaren, because you know they've got the heritage and they're still going, so it's very easy to
Yeah.
get
And an occasional
the
Lotus.
licenses together.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I also thought, to be fair, that Benetton wouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, because it's still a company. It's still close to Renault. I would love a Tyrrell car pack. A Minardi car pack would be great. Arrows might be difficult to get because Tom Walkinshaw's no longer around, and then Arrows as a brand I don't think's about. But like, there's other companies that have kind of gone off and splintered off elsewhere. It should be okay.
I kissed the wall. Just carry on. You were talking about arrows, and you know how much I love the arrows.
But even if it's not like exact sponsors, having the arrows, if you had like the orange arrows in, even like just the general livery with something close sponsor looking wise, would make me happy. Because I think for me, classic cars works and it's okay and it's fine for a time, but it always feels to me, if you've got like one car from one year and one from another, a missed trick, because I want to be able to have the 1999 season completely reenacted with all the drivers and cars and teams, and that I would pay per season as a car set to download that, maybe with an additional track or two. That to me is way more enticing as a DLC option than random cars. Other than that,
a random single car.
Yeah, other than that, a track pack, because I can never have enough tracks to race on.
I mean, for me, I really like that as a concept. I think this is one of the few games, and it tends to be sport games actually, where treating the game itself as a service platform for DLC makes sense, rather than releasing a full-price version every year.
Yeah.
Just sort of treat it almost like an MMO, but instead of having a monthly subscription, just sell yearly update packs plus update packs in the interim that, you know, add in retro cars, retro seasons, new tracks. Then again, I suppose the problem is it's F1, right? And it's quite limiting. You know, that once you're going to have a limited service life there. It's not like something like Project Cars or whatever, where there's several different classes of vehicle, and you know, you've got quite a lot of catalogue in terms of manufacturers and history to draw from. I imagine with F1 it's probably a little bit more limiting.
I would say so, but there's still a good 60, 70 odd years of heritage that they could go for. I mean, they could do like a Fangio pack or something like that, and put on, you could have like the optional monochrome screen effect or something like that. It would be, you if you wanted to and you really went to town with it and you had full creative license to do so, which under Liberty Media I think there's more chance now than ever before. There's plenty that you could get away with if you was allowed to. But it's just whether or not corporateness will get out of its way to make itself a little mini buck, as opposed to not having anything, a big slice of nout.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that actually gives me hope for the future, to be honest. I'm just pottering around now, I'm not even trying. Liberty Media seem a lot more open to actually cashing in on the license.
Yeah.
Now, it's something Bernie's always been reluctant about. You remember we had no F1 games for a long time, right?
Yeah,
there was one for 2005 and then nothing till 2010, as I recall.
Yeah, there was a 2006 one that came out, but it was just F1 Championship Edition. It wasn't called 06 specifically. Then there was a portable one for 2009 as a prelude to 2010.
That's right, yeah. And there actually was an F1 2009 game, but wasn't it just for Wii for some reason?
It was it was for the Wii and the PSP.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Sorry, we're just doing a rummage round so that people see, oh, look at that Nigel Mansell 92 Williams.
Yeah, I was torn between this and the 92 Williams.
Oh, it looks so good. It reminds me of my first F1 games that I bought, and it was just like a little 1K picture of Pixel where they've tried to like detail it in, and now look at it and it's glory. I love it.
I mean, and that's something as well. You had such depth of field back in the early 90s. You know, particularly in the era when people had to pre-qualify.
Yes.
There's so much potential content there. You know, and you and I would drive a SimTech even if no one else would.
Damn right. Damn right. That Renault.
Have you heard the Brummie on the tannoy? He gets very annoying.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't know if that was something coming through from your side, because it sounds interesting, but yeah. Is he saying anything exciting though?
He's just talking about the new season, so he talks about Ferrari's power unit being better and Bottas moving to Mercedes from Williams.
Okay. Because even like, so just watching round, the 98 McLaren, there is bugger all sponsorship on there because obviously it was the West cigarette stuff. But they've not put a Mika or David alternative. It's just pure blank. So if there is problems with sponsors and finding names and stuff like that, I would deal with having that as a car set for just like colour schemes, so long as performance and names are
there. There was a ridiculous qualifying fight there where 4 cars were battling each other very, very closely for no conceivable gain. Wow.
Oh, it's put the results into classes.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh no, but it makes sense, right? Because the guy on pole... Wow, the 1998 McLaren is seriously off the back of the 2006 Renault. Do you know, I don't know if the gaps ever felt that big year on year, but again, you never really saw them race each other, so...
No, and everything feels fast. That's interesting. Huh.
Well, I'm delighted to have out-qualified you. I'm going to do my smug face again.
Do it. Impressed
right,
by
let us race. Let us race, and we'll run down thoughts so far, and then I'm going to eat some dinner, and I'm going to let you get acquainted with the game ahead of tomorrow's proper Failcast F1 episode, which I'm super excited for.
Absolutely. So don't forget.
Got a lot of F1 news to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a usual shows along with our screaming and crashing. So yeah, don't forget to. I'm gonna vomit in my mouth. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see some of that content. We will not force it down your throat.
It does annoy me all that, actually.
I've noticed the backlash actually from the F1 website.
Sorry, you're drowned out by a lot of engines. Once we're not racing so closely, I might be able to hear you again. I'm going to have an accident. Knew it.
So, I've held on.
Asterisk vomits wildly just from hearing it. Asterisk.
Thanks, Jay.
Do you know what I'd like to see? You know, you were covering retro F1 games, Simon.
Oh, is that you? Oh, hello.
You were covering retro F1 games this week?
Yes.
Oh, I've lost the front wing again.
I was busy following you into the grass, into the long grass.
Yeah, this car has lost all its ability to turn. I actually feel it a lot more on this than I did on the other one.
Your turbulent air feels a lot more on this.
Yeah, the engineers just said we can't sustain this level of damage. So that's me in the pits. What I was going to say was, before we had a series of accidents in slow motion... Hold on, let me get through this chicane. Actually, I've forgotten what I was going to say now. I was having a big accident. What was
retro
I talking
F1
about, Simon?
games.
Oh, yes, you were playing the retro F1 games. I noticed that you've got a lot of Murray Walker action in those.
Yeah.
Now, the sound effects already exist. Just saying. Just saying.
Williams driver number 1.
It's Lammy.
It's Lamy! Or what used to really annoy me, because he never said Olivier Panis, he used to say Olivier Parnis. I used to go, he's not a parsnip.
Actually, though, if you notice, if you watch Retro F1 back, he does year on year change pronunciation of a lot of names.
Yes.
You know, including a period of Rubens Barrichello.
Yes.
Also, what I've noticed is that if you watch particularly really early 90s F1, there was a lot of sort of blatant racism going on.
Oh, yeah. He clearly has favourites and not favourites.
Yes, he does, yeah. And I was watching a race from like mid to late 80s, and he was talking about Alan Prost in qualifying. I forget which round it was. And he's talking about how well he did in the morning, and he just goes, and hats off to the frog.
Oh my god.
I thought, Murray, no.
You're
He's
supposed
like
to
the
be kind,
nation's racist
gentle.
granddad.
Aww. But it's okay because World War Two.
And I remember seeing a 1998 race, Tora Takagi in the Tyrrell,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he keeps referring to him, whether intentionally or not,
Tiger.
as the little Japanese.
Oh, God.
So he's like, I've got to say, the little Japanese in the Tyrrell. Fucking hell.
Oh,
No wonder
Murray.
they retired him.
I remember when Takagi was there, so he would go, Tora, Tiger, Takagi! And you'd be like, alright, Murray, alright.
To be honest, like, he was one of those drivers that was supposed to make waves, right? And he never did.
No, and then De La Rosa come and scored his point on debut at Arrows, and that kind of ruined that. But he went over to IndyCar afterwards, and I was watching, because I love the fact that the IndyCar channel keeps loads of retro races that's popping up, and I've seen bits of the races over there, and he didn't really do massively well over there either. He got a few podiums, maybe a win, I'm not sure.
I can't drive this car without a front wing. It's all your fault.
Sorry. There you go. Have your place back. We'll have a little scrapperoo.
That was a dirty overtake on my part.
It's all right. How very Verstappen of you.
How's this for a Verstappen?
Can you understand why everyone keeps on referring to Belgium as Verstappen's home race, even though he's not Dutch? Sorry, he's Dutch.
Jay, you're on my wavelength, mate. Jay's just pointed out, well, of course you're going to look like a superstar when your teammate is Rossett.
Exactly.
Now, I actually, I was reminded the other day of Ricardo Rossett having his name on his, I think it was on his car or above his garage. His mechanics got so annoyed at him that they changed the order of the letters in his name. So he was Ricardo Tosser. That tickles me. That tickles me to this day.
Oh, that is such a British thing to do. I love it.
The thing is, as well, like Rossett actually stayed in F1 a lot longer than I think most people realise, because he was very anonymous before his time at Tyrrell. But he was there because he was at Footwork, wasn't he?
Footwork Arrows to partner Jos Verstappen in '96, and then he joined Lola for '97.
Yeah, Lola.
Then that was it. Thank Christ. But he only got. So
He's handling like garbage.
Here's an excellent piece of law. So originally he was going to stay. He wasn't going to join Arrows at '96, but they replaced him because they were bored of Taki. They brought him in because they were bored of Taki Inoue.
How can you get bored of Taki Inoue?
So yeah, he was the replacement driver that was supposed to be so much better because he'd done some Brazilian Formula 3, I think, before. And so yeah, the legend that replaced the legend at Footwork Arrows, amazing. Didn't keep Gianni Morbidelli because he actually had to cost. And then Taki Inoue went to Minardi, and Minardi initially took his money and then went, fucking hell, no way, and replaced him with Giancarlo Fisichella.
Well, that was a good swap.
That was a good swap. Can you imagine if Fisichella never existed because Taki Inoue actually kept his money?
Because Taki Inoue stayed in his seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a depressing reality. I don't want any part of that.
Taki in F1 all the way till 2009, driving a Ferrari on his last race.
This feels like the longest 5-lap race in history.
I think we've done very terribly. I know I've overdriven
Well, because
like a bitch.
I've got no front wing, so the car is a complete mess.
And I've noticed that I'm now so used to driving with 7 and 8 gears that I keep on wanting to upshift on gear 6, and I'm getting it all horribly wrong.
Oh, this car feels horrible now. You've ruined it. It was a beautiful car, Simon.
I'm sorry. Let's do the last lap
So,
actually in cockpit mode.
While we're last lapping, instead of reminiscing about Ricardo Rossett, who apparently everyone universally hates, why don't we wrap up initial first impressions? Obviously, we can't give a detailed review of the game, but
Let me know you're all right.
binned it. I was gonna
That's
say,
true, actually, Jay. Yeah, he did. Sorry, Si, go ahead.
what was I going to say? Loving it, essentially. Yes, there's more grip, but the cars are also more slidey and more. It's like you've got to wrestle them more and be much more aggressive, which takes a bit of a mindset change. But from a technical standpoint, crystal clear, loving it, great. The classic cars look amazing, sound amazing, and drive very differently. And yeah, I think if you've not jumped aboard the F1 train so far this generation, now is definitely the time. And yeah, 2 thumbs up. Loving it.
Somehow I finished fourth. I must be fourth in class.
In class.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts. So retro cars are incredibly good fun to drive. Obviously, I've only driven 2 of them, but it definitely doesn't feel like a cheap add-on. They've definitely taken their time. It feels like a good addition to the roster of cars, and they do all handle uniquely. I drove the '88 McLaren this morning. That feels very different to the Williams and the Ferrari. They definitely all have their own handling characteristics. Career mode, I'm absolutely loving. They've reworked the audio. I feel at least round 1, the level of immersion as a driver is much higher. So the scripts have been thrown out for the most part. There's more locations. It feels like a more dynamic experience. I'm a big fan of the wear on 4 different engine components, plus the gearbox. I'm definitely acutely aware of how my driving is affecting things like the gearbox and so on. By the end of the first 3 practice sessions, I'd taken a close to between a 6th and a 5th of the lifespan out of my gearbox. So that's telling me I'm driving wrong, which, that's not really news, but the fact is I like that it's something that I have to consider. Something else that's interesting that you won't have seen yet, Simon, is that there is now an interest tab.
Ooh.
And what that does is it monitors interest you're receiving from other teams. So you don't get direct feedback on what your own team thinks of your performance. There's just like a gauge saying you are on target, above target, below target. But for the other teams, there is a chart that displays how closely they're watching you and how impressed they are by you.
Okay.
So you can sort of get an idea of which teams might be making moves for you at the end of the season, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah.
It no longer feels random.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed the Chris, the vehicle dynamics guy. I felt the interaction with him was much better, and the new development web is a much better way forward, because you've got 4 main areas now of development. So you've got your powertrain, aerodynamics, reliability, and I think it's chassis. I forget. But then there's also diagonal paths that handle things like improved bonuses for being number 1 driver, additional durability benefits. There's something else as well. Multiple development. So when you request a upgrade now, there's only so many that you can have in development at any one time, and they're not always ready for the next Grand Prix. So by researching down that tree, you can actually have more upgrades in development at any one time, which means you make a bigger step forward when you do make a step forward.
Okay.
I definitely like that, because there's a balance to be struck between incremental upgrades or waiting and having a larger upgrade later in the season. I also found with the upgrade system that it definitely feels like you're overwhelmed with choice, which is something that you definitely should be. And I like the fact now that you're explicitly advised that sometimes upgrades just won't work how we planned. He gives you quite a detailed speech about that, and I think that's interesting. What I don't know yet is if they still put the bad part on the car or not. Like, I don't know how they decide that an upgrade has failed, or if they'll even tell you. What I like is the idea that they might put the part on the car, and then during the course of the Grand Prix, you'll feel it's wrong, and they'll tell you it's wrong, and then you'll have to wait to the next race to switch back. I would kind of like that, but I think a lot of players might be put off by seeing it as some sort of arbitrary punishment. I think there's a lot of there's a large demographic of gamers that don't like feeling punished by things like random failures. I don't know if random failures are back in the game, but I believe you can have a failure during the race based on your component wear and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And the whole grid penalty system is replicated. So if you change gearbox between quali and race, which you can do, then you will of course be penalised. So it's all about taking. Jay's putting his hand up as being anti-random number generator. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not alone, mate. I mean, for me, it's something that I've always found tolerable, but I could completely understand why a player might not want it. All in all, though, I'm very excited about the career mode in particular. The other modes, it's hard to say. I'm very interested to see how co-op career is handled, because given that you can have a specific driver for co-op career mode that's separate from your other drivers, and you can have multiple driver slots now, I'm wondering if you can have a multi-season co-op, which would be very, very interesting indeed. I mean, it's unlikely that we'd actually work through it because we're on a schedule now for streaming. But it would be interesting to see if you can have the development mechanics and the changing teams implemented in a co-op setting. I think that would be something, if they haven't already done it, something I'd love to see in the future. Then I think, because I've driven career mode and you haven't, but you've driven today with me now, maybe we wrap up with your thoughts, if you have any further, on handling model, graphics, performance, and so on, and then we can I can go make some dinner.
Yeah, I guess for me, first impressions, it literally was first impressions out of the box, is more grip, more feedback on the controller itself. It feels as close to, I'd say, to 2013 in terms of like baseline of this car's got an awful lot of grip, and then getting your head around how that works, I think will be interesting in the future. Technically though, thing runs fine, no issues, no problems, loving the plethora of options. I can't wait to get stuck in. 2 hearty thumbs up from my first experience. I'm a very happy man.
Me too. I think I have less trouble recommending this than I have in the past. I've generally, most years, recommended the game, but I think this time I feel much more confident in doing so, particularly because, as we talked about before, it seems to have been tested to a much greater degree than we've had previously. That's why on launch day we're already on version 1.3, and you and I have had no netcode issues or the usual problems we've had in the past, which I'm very pleased about. Also, graphically, it looks very nice. It runs smoothly. There's no overt frame drops or anything. Aside from yesterday, where I had a little bit of cloud pop in, I've not noticed any major problems. So, if you're in the market and the price is right, I have no hesitation recommending it to everybody. So then, me old cocker, I'm gonna go make myself some dinner. I'm gonna let you ingratiate yourself with the career mode. Are you staying live?
I'm not staying live. I'm going to dive off for now so that I can actually go away and understand a little bit more about the game, and then I'll come back probably later on this evening actually, and do some races over here on High Plane Games on YouTube.
That's correct.
Whereas yourself, you will be on
Twitch.
Hey, it's definitely Zero.
Yeah, twitch.tv/definitely0, and of course you can join Simon's stream later today. youtube.com/highplanegames. No? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
We've only been working together nearly a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good.
And of course, tomorrow is the launch of Season 8 of the Failcast F1 podcast. So please do join us either live here with me on Twitch or live with Simon over at High Plane Games. We were kicking off at 4 p.m. UK time. That's 5 p.m. if you're in Central Europe, like my good self. And we'll be doing the usual F1 news and opinion, banter, disgusting innuendo, and we'll be beginning our co-op season for this year. So I hope people will join us. The live format is new for this year. I'm keen to see how it goes. Thank you very much for watching. Only Jay remains with us, so thank you for sticking with us till the end, mate. For everyone else who might pop back and finish the stream as a VOD, thank you for stepping in during the course of the episode. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow if you're available. You guys take care.
Bye for now.